So they just syringe it into there, do they?
Yeah, basically.
This is an extraordinary moment for a father and daughter. For the first time, they've come back to where Myfanwy Walker's life began, a laboratory at the Royal Women's Hospital in Melbourne. 23 years ago, Michael Linden's frozen sperm helped create this young woman. Today, she's confronting her conception, and she doesn't like it.
We have one ejaculate per container.
I just think that the whole very idea of this canister devalues my creation, even though my parents loved me and wanted me so very much. The reality of the fact is that I'm alive and I came from one of these.
This is a product, it's a consumer.
Yeah.
And without it, you wouldn't be here.
Doesn't matter. I am here.
And then there's Joanna Rose, conceived 32 years ago in Britain with donor sperm. Despite a decade-long search, she hasn't been able to find her donor father. She says seeing herself is like looking at a stranger.
I do. I literally just think, who's she? Who's she again? She's following me around. I see my own reflection. And I don't look like my mum. I don't. I think I probably have the face of, a female version of my genetic father. And that's weird.
Joanna and Myfanwy are the first generation of children born of donor insemination and the very first offspring to speak out against it. They want it banned to stop the very process that created them in the first place.
You had lab coats and syringes and an aseptic technique, You are the genetic combination of people who wouldn't touch each other with a barge pole. Didn't even want to look at each other. That gets to you.
How many donations did you make?
I made 10. I think that was the limit at that time.
Michael Linden was a young university student when he first signed up for $10 a donation. Did you ever consider that you were creating $10 babies?
No, I didn't. No, I never felt that way about it.
What did you think you were doing?
I was being paid for giving them my sperm. That's all I thought I was doing. You definitely resemble my mother, facially. I thought there was some similarities.
Promised anonymity and no responsibility, the young hippie didn't think twice about it. But then, 2 decades later, he discovered a daughter he never knew existed, a daughter that had been desperately looking for him.
Do you remember that? Having that photo taken?
It was just by chance. 2 years ago, Michael spotted Myfanwy's plea in a newspaper and recognised himself in her.
The door opens and as he welcomed me into the door, I knew that I was related to him, even, without it even being a conscious thought. I knew that he was my relation and that he was my biological father.
I saw my daughter. I saw an instant recognition.
Did that blow you away?
It did. I described it. I've paralleled it with having a baby come in, a new baby come into your life.
You like to say there's no right or wrong.
There's been no such comfort for Joanna.
Act like I disappear.
Her search has so far brought nothing but frustration. What do you know about your biological father?
I think he was a medical student, apparently, and I know he donated during 1971 at Harley Street. There was a handful of guys who donated for 7 years, up to 3 times a week, and they called it the Wank Bank. And apparently I have probably between 200 and 300 half-siblings.
How does that notion make you feel?
Dizzy. Just dizzy with... just dizzy in so many ways, like just dizzy that they could do that to me, that there could be that lack of thought, that it's so reckless.
Do you think that the whole donor insemination process is a social experiment?
No, donor insemination isn't a social experiment. It's a valid and appropriate medical treatment to overcome a deficiency, a loss, the absence of sperm.
Dr. John McBain is one of the pioneers of donor insemination in Australia. Here, there have always been limits on the number of donations, but he does admit there were mistakes when it began in the 70s.
I think we got it wrong.
In what way?
Oh, because we didn't consider that children would at some time in the future want to have that information, which we can now have.
Until recently, only minor details like the donor's height and eye colour were kept. So if it wasn't for Mfanwi's public plea, she would never have found Michael.
I'm one of the lucky ones. I've got Michael in my life, and I've got contact with my biological family. There's thousands and thousands of people out there who will never have what I've got.
Well, talking to these adults, they say they feel incomplete. Some of them say they look in the mirror and they don't know who they are.
I'm so sorry to hear that, but I'm not sure that the whole donor insemination program, with the vast good that it has done for so many people, should be dismantled because of the sad things which have happened to these children.
These are basic things that matter to people. Your medical history, your ethnicity, who your parents, your direct genetic parents are, your siblings. You know, we're not living in La La Land. These are things that ground people. It gives them a sense of identity and belonging and who they are. And, you know, I have that need just as much as everybody else.
But for infertile couples, being able to create a family is what it's all about, to fulfil an overwhelming need to have a baby. But that baby grows up without its biological father, and for some, that leaves a terrible void in their lives.
There was a kind of parental abandonment, yeah, by your genetic father, yeah. You were gifted, you know, it's...
But he wasn't a parent, you hadn't been
No,
conceived.
but he gave up his rights and responsibilities in relationships. He created a child he would have no acknowledgement of.
He helped create.
No responsibility for. Yeah, then that is a type of... Look, I wasn't raised by my genetic father. That's a sense of abandonment. I'm sorry to say it is.
So what do you know about your donor father?
I know that he went to Duntarine Military College for 2 years at least.
25-year-old Liam Marcus was conceived in Canberra thanks to a donation from a young military student.
Do you look into the faces of strangers you see on the streets and say, I wonder if you could be my dad?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. I mean, of course, it crosses your mind, you know, if someone sort of looks similar or something, but yeah, not normally.
He knows very little about his biological father and, apart from learning his medical history, has no driving urge to find him.
I think it's a brave decision. Yeah, I mean, it can't have been easy to go into a sort of fertility clinic knowing that you're donating sperm to make people. Yeah, and I'm glad that he did. I thank him for his genes, wherever he may be, and yeah, I'm really glad that he did.
And what do you think of your parents' decision to conceive you in this way?
It tells me they wanted me pretty bad, yeah, and I also feel very warm about that. They've obviously gone through a lot of pain and trouble to bring me into this world, and I do appreciate that fact.
Oh, we had this guy coming in, he's put a big hole in the little kitchen at the back.
And so what of Mfanwi's mum, Mary Walker? She was only able to have children because of Michael Linden, and not one, but two. Her husband was infertile, and so Michael's sperm helped produce Mfanwi and her younger brother, coincidentally also named Michael. Today your daughter went to the sperm bank for the first time and described the place as emotionless, loveless. Was her creation without love?
No, that's actually completely wrong, because for about 8 years I'd been trying to have children. So she was really... It's the one thing my two children cannot say is actually that they're not wanted children. They're the two most wanted children in the world and the two most loved.
How do you feel about Michael?
Yeah, he's a nice bloke. That little bit where the bath used to be.
Why'd you do it anyway?
What do you think about his decision to donate sperm?
Well, a bit weird. I wouldn't donate sperm.
Why is that?
Because I wouldn't want to have 5, 6 kids not knowing who their father is. That'd be a bit weird for them. And not me not knowing them, so it's a bit complicated.
In fact, it's so complicated that up to 80% of parents who use donor insemination never tell their children their father is not their natural father. Mfanwe was 20 before she was told, and then only after the divorce of her parents.
Do you really think that being told is the right thing?
Yes, absolutely. Not for a minute. Even though with, everything that I've experienced since that point, not for a minute would I go back to not knowing this day. I don't think it's right to deceive someone about their conception and about who their family really is.
That's why I say to those donors in the past that they should see that there may be children out there that have this missing part of their lives, and they should be open to being contacted by those children, because it means something to those children to know where they came from.
For adults like Liam, the only chance they have of finding their biological fathers is if those men contact one of the voluntary registries throughout Australia. Even today, donors are still anonymous, except in Victoria, where since 1998 they must be identifiable.
How do you feel about people who say that they have a right to know their biological history at all costs?
I respect their beliefs. I believe that I can understand how it could really become an overriding factor in your life. But as for myself, I'd have no desire to sort of go out there and make it the be-all and end-all of my life, and I'm happy.
It has become an obsession for Joanna Rose. In Britain's High Court, she's been fighting for the rights of donor offspring, and in Australia is doing a PhD on the ethics and social impact of donor conception.
This whole industry is growing. It's not like everybody's learnt from the mistake and they've all stopped and it's all fine now. I really feel a sense of compulsion to say, look, even at the beginning when you were doing donation, you stuffed up. Stop.
I believe that there is some real hurt. I think it's outrageous, however, to imagine it would have been better never having been conceived.
Smoke and mirrors hide my name. I couldn't have been here if I never came.
For Joanna, her creation was all smoke and mirrors, deception and recklessness.
You think that makes it all right.
For Mfanwe, it gave her two fathers but took away her peace of mind. And for others like Liam, it was the greatest gift of all. It gave him his life.
It does dumbfound me sometimes to think that you'd rather be non-existent than to have come through this program.
Like to say there's no right or wrong.
I was created from a doctor inseminating my mother, and I don't know why that bothers me. I think it's something that I haven't completely understood yet, but it does bother me.
You cannot make it all right.
I think the doctor should apologise. I think the government should apologise. You can't just go, oh, whoops, well, you're here now. You wouldn't have been here if it weren't for it, so don't make a fuss. Get on with life, It's serious.
Hello, I'm Tara Brown. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the latest from 60 Minutes Australia, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also download the 9Now app for full episodes and other exclusive 60 Minutes content.